5-6 favourite.
And they're off. Candleford towards the inside away pretty well with Jack Darcy. Mimic You is going to be restrained. Epic Poet is going up to join the leaders. Hamish is dropped out towards the rear. Timesius Fox is the back marker. And Hard One to Please racing rather wide into the first right-hand turn as Jack Darcy now takes over in this Lourmarin King's Plate Glorious Stakes. By a length and a half to Epic Poet. Hard One to Please probably very handy now, albeit tracking wide from Candlefoot and Mimic You. Then a couple of lengths to the favourite Hamish and 4 lengths last to Timesius Fox. Racing in the back straight, and it's Jack Darcy that leads the way. Neil Callan aboard. Epic Poet tracking in the slipstream. Hard One to Please to the outside, and they're followed by Mimic You, Frankie Dettori in those Jaws Strawbridge colours, just behind Candlefoot in the red and green half jacket. Then Candlefoot's stable companion Hamish and Tom Marquand, and finally Timesius Fox. Racing uphill now and on their way to the top of the racecourse, and it is still Jack Darcy that leads the way. To Epic Poet in second place, a length and a half then to Candlefoot on the inside of Hard One to Please. Then behind these is the filly Mimic You, still held up is Hamish, and 3 or 4 lengths last, and some way off the pace is Timesius Fox as they entered the final 6 furlongs. Approaching a right-hand turn, and then a little bit of relief as they run downhill towards the final right-hander, and it's Jack Darcy that turns first. From Epic Poet in second, Candlefoot's on the inside. Hard One to Please is fourth. Hamish creeping up on the inside of Mimic You, and then Timesius Fox. Onto this little right-hand kink in the course, and now down the straight, and it's Jack Darcy that leads by a length or so to Epic Poet. On the outside, Hard One to Please. Candlefoot coming there very strongly, tracked through by stable companion Hamish. Mimic You is going to burn down the wide outside on the extreme right in the hands of Frankie Dettori, and then Timesius Fox. It's Jack Darcy still leading the way. Candlefoot yet to be asked too many big questions, now shaken up. Hamish likewise. Mimic You is just emptying out a little bit as they race down to the final furlong and a half. Jack Darcy is very resolute in front. Hamish trying hard far side, then Candlefoot running on late far side is Timesius Fox. Now Hamish begins to storm on and goes clear. It's Hamish on the far side, stamping his class in the closing stages, and comes right away under Tom Marquand. Hamish wins from Jack Darcy, Candlefoot third, Timesius Fox in fourth.
Hamish, the favourite, goes in 5-6 for Tom Marquand and William Haggas. Jack Darcy was second at 18-1, and today it was an easy victory by 4 lengths. Didn't always look likely, but this is a horse who's been in fantastic form. The perfect 3 from 3 for the season, following on from the Ormond at Chester, the John Smith Silver Cup at York, and winning once again. He's made up the ground on the far side, a really likeable way of going, and he's done so much work in the closing stages, and in the end it's looked pretty effortless for a very special victory.
And a very special 7-year-old owned by his father, Brian, and he's at home, is he?
He is. He'll be watching. I rang him before the race. The horse has been an absolute nightmare today to saddle, and Paul Maureen's been jumped on about 8 times. She's got blood coming out of the top of her head because the horse struck her. But she adores this horse and she does everything with him, so I'm taking no credit myself, just all the credit and the praise should go to her.
It's not being funny. Is that a good sign if he's a bit above himself?
Not usually.
Right.
So I rang my father, who's a very proud Yorkshireman, and I said he's been a bloody nightmare today. So when he's like this, he never runs his best. And he says, I think he likes the north. She's quite good at York, the horse, so he's probably right, but that was good today.
What were you thinking during the race?
Well, I didn't think it was a strong race for the grade, and I thought he was always travelling well. Tom said after that it was the best he's felt this year, which is interesting because he scrambled home a bit at York last time, and he won well. I think this ground's a bit, he likes cut in the ground, but he likes it wet. I think this time tomorrow he'd have loved it. But that's the way it is. He won, and Paul Candleford was cantering, and he just got lost in the ground. It's too tacky for him. He wants top of the ground.
Yes, you were thinking that the today's ground might have brought them closer together, but it still just wasn't quick enough for him.
Well, it did. Candleford ran a good race, but Hamish was better.
What's the plan with him now? He's getting quotes for the E-ball, for which I think I'm right in saying he's got 10 stone 5, hasn't
Yeah, and
he?
he won't be running in the E-ball. He's off 117 or something. It's hard to place. I mean, a few people said I should have run him in the King George, but, you know, I couldn't have run him in the King George in that sort of race on the drying ground. It wasn't wet. You can run in a race like this on that sort of ground, but the King George was a different thing. But as my father very quickly pointed out, he's only ever run against one of those horses in the King George, and that was Huckham, and he beat him. So he was lambasting me for not running, but this was the right place to run.
Irish Ledger attempting at all?
Yes, possibly.
Yeah.
He just wants soft ground. So we've been lucky this summer, summer, whatever that is, that we've got some soft ground. So he's been able to run twice in a fortnight. This time last year, we couldn't get anything out of him at all.
Now, you weren't here yesterday when everybody here had the pleasure of seeing Desert Hero win the Gordon Stakes and maintain the classic dream. Surely he has laid down his credentials to try the St Ledger for His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen.
I think very much so. I couldn't see anything to say don't have a go. He's in the Voltager, but he doesn't need to run there, so we'll go straight to the Ledger, all being well.
And in terms of the speed that he shows, are you confident that he's going to be able to stay in extended 14 furlongs?
I always have this thing. I think we ought to try it. I'm not sure whether he'll stay, but there's plenty of stamina on the dam side. See the Star's a very versatile stallion. Why won't he stay? He goes on the soft, as he proved yesterday. He's won at Ascot on very fast ground.
And there's different styles of races as well.
Absolutely. So I think, he's got a chance of getting the trip. It's not really whether they get the trip, it's whether they're going to be as effective or more effective at the trip. You'd have to say that the further Gregory goes, it appears, the better he is. So he's obviously going to be hard to beat. But this horse deserves his place in a race of that nature, I think.
Keeping the dream alive. Many congratulations yesterday and today.
Thanks, Lydia. Thank you.
Tom Marquand's having a fabulous Qatar Goodwood Festival, and he was on board. Hamish, William was just saying that you'd said to him that that's the best he's felt all season.
Yeah. Look, I know obviously he's been going and getting the job done in some fun ways, but I thought today was probably a bit of a technical challenge for him, just because you've got the whole canter down. It's a very different sort of experience, and yeah, look, from out the gates he felt happy straight away, and just there was never a moment throughout the race where he didn't feel like I'd just be able to slide in and do what we wanted. And I mean, I think he doesn't normally stretch away either. He normally just goes and gets the job done, and that's about as much as you can get him to do. And today I literally just turned the screw sort of half a notch, and he was look, obviously he was away and gone and won by was it 4.5 lengths, so pretty dominant fashion.
That's probably why he's still going at the age he is, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact, Maureen rides him out pretty much every day, and if she doesn't ride him, Andrew Tinkler rides him, and having that everyday sort of routine is big for a horse. And he's had his problems, but they've managed him so beautifully and so carefully that it pays you back in spades in the long run. And he's been such a fun horse, because obviously he's owned by William's father as well, and it all adds to the story of making him an extremely special horse to everyone at Somerville Lodge, and especially the Haggas family.
Yes, absolutely. William and Brian already spoken about this several times today. Was there much pace on?
Not a lot, to be honest, no. A couple, obviously I went down early, but I watched a couple sort of steaming on down to the start, and I thought, lovely, this will be tailor-made for us. And we ended up going slow, but as ever on tracks like this, it's rhythm and getting your horse to just find their sort of comfort zone, and you have that nice pull up the first half furlong, so very quickly a race can settle down. So it worked out beautifully, but it wasn't a hot tempo at all. No.
William's talking about the Irish St Ledger again. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Look, obviously I wasn't aboard him last year when he finished second. Richard rode him. I can't remember where I ended up. I think I was in France. But yeah, wouldn't mind having the spin this year and following him over there. And look, it's exciting because he's likely to get his ground. And the trip, he proved he stayed well, and he ran one of the most dominant stayers of last season all the way to the line. So, well, certainly to within 5 strides of the line anyway. So. Yeah, it seems the right target, certainly.
And finally, Williams just confirmed its next stop St Ledger for Desert Hero. I didn't end up asking you about what you felt about the stamina, the blend that you need of speed and stamina. You obviously won the race before, so what's your thoughts on Desert Hero's suitability for the task?
Yeah, look, I think it's a big misconception that you want a slow horse for the St Ledger. You need one with a good bit of speed, and obviously you have to stay. But it's I think a nice prospect, just having that nice clean run down the back straight at Doncaster. You know, if you can get the first half right, the second half, you know, he stayed a tough mile and a half yesterday on testing ground, and you'd like to think if he can do that, he should be able to stay that extra couple of furlongs on a flatter, more sort of, I suppose, rhythm-based track, smooth track, should I say. But yeah, look, obviously, absolutely buzzing for that, because, you know, what more can you want? Is one a Royal Runner in is one of the oldest classic of the British calendar.
Absolutely, it's so exciting. Thanks for your thoughts. Congratulations with Hamish.
Thanks, Lydia. Cheers.